Takskan now, because water which the way that speech the Mavoniano, you go okay up that in a big, which you go about damage. You go ahead after the grand entry, you go down here, you have to be Mr. Matwa, Jennifer. Because which about o to be happy check so anyway, as we're calling out the dignitaries, those visitors, if you don't mind, if you just leave your seats for the time being and join the group out here. We're going to do a grand entry. And on cue, we're going to get the drum group do the iron swing drum group do their welcoming sound rounds at first here. And okay, drum group, hip set. se tilgi o te hea kuilau tātou o takapne hea kuichi koa lo anots Eagle staff captain it's winna tiki romina captain Stephen Ross o tōtu Montreal Saskatchewan you got me in the Canadian flag Corporal Ron Amberville o tōtu Montreal Saskatchewan ni ki besi o ki pe tāmuka no the Master Corporal Abel Highway. He's the president of the A branch, Saskatchewan FNVA, Montreal Lake Cree Nation flag. Chief Junior Chief Hayden Siwa. Okay, we're going to have the flag song next, and they can just line up there. Training the Adhesion flag. Carol Ross. And then our councillors. Do you want to go to we're just going to go to the flag song, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're going to go ahead. Leo, Oda, you are Grand Chief. Vice Chief Diso, you got Fabian, Vice Chief Fabian, Please remain standing for the victory song. young people, take your seats. You go to come to the back, to be happy. We don't really have any particular seating order up here. You see, before I call up Jennifer to come and do an open prayer, I just want to do an introduction of the head table. You see, thank you for coming and visiting on our another day for celebration of the adhesion to Treaty Number 6. Treaty Number 6 kita magigawa notes. There was a lot of work done in terms of getting this, getting our signature, getting signed on the adhesion. So anyway, that's now FSI. What the Vice Chief, what I asked, need Fabian Head. You go Vice Chief, what Vice Chief Joe, you're going to thank Vice Chief Spy for being able to be here with us today. Very exceptional day for us, and we're going to the Grand Chief. Our Vice Chief, Dean Henderson, Conrad another one of our councillors. Troy Netaho, Carol Netaho, Stephen. The Treaty Commissioner, Mr. Nortin Naskamau, that Kabiras would with that Milwa, you establish a Milaso Tegasco, if you with Chiwia, or Chiwa here. Okay, you're our youth chief and council. You're going to go from the school. You got Otto Chiwa, Batisa Jennifer Quichibano, then you got Istamagua, and those the Nascoa. Jennifer?
Ini mama yung tayo na nasumit na o tayo pagit niya kung mama ito ini ito kaya kita ubo tayo isang diwit kawas sa United West Release sa mga nanay ibo tayo kung sunaman Kasi mga tunod yun. Iyon, inanas ko malutay di kalutay siya. Panigan niyo. Iyon ko matalis ko ng mga tuwid siya, matalis ko ng mga ayaw Diyos na siya. Iyon, kuwi-tuwi mo siya. Nisang napachitanan. Lord Jesus, hear our prayer. Bless our children. Bless the leadership that are here, that have been invited. Make sure they make it home, safe and sound. We thank you. We ask you to sit with us, stand by us, because we always need you. We all pray in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Jennifer. Let's see at this point, just like to thank everyone for their attendance. We have other dignitaries amongst us here. I just like to acknowledge our former chiefs from Montreal Lake here, Frank Roberts up front here, Roger. I don't see him, but I know he will be with us. And I'm just wondering if there's any other, and then former councillors. So anyway, we have to also acknowledge that some of the people that are not able to be with us just because they're on missions, they're elsewhere. Our chief, Joyce McLeod. However, in place of that, we're going to have we've asked the current council to come up and reach you guys as well. So.
Thank you, Lord. I guess for those of you that don't know me, I'm Dean Henderson, Vice Chief for Montreal. I guess I just want to, our chief is unable to be here today, but she's away on business. She's in Ottawa. She won't be home till tonight. I know she was trying to make arrangements to be here for this. She was trying to get me to go in her place to Ottawa, but I'd rather be here for this than go to Ottawa. So, just apologies for her not being able to make it. I want to welcome everybody to this big event for us. I believe it's 136 years now. Is that right? 136? 136 years now since we signed our treaties in Molinosa. I think, many of us have been to the site where it has been signed. We own the camp, Harold Johnson's camp, and it's just down the lake is the actual signing site. We try and give tours there every summer when we have our cultural days in Molinosa, and try to educate most of our people on what happened there on that day, on this day, February 11th. Big day. I remember there's some pictures on the back wall from 1989. I was part of that. In 1989, we took all our buses, all our school buses, and we all went up to Molinosa, February 11th, 1989. And there's those pictures there. We had all our dignitaries there. We had chiefs. We had, I believe that the commissioner was there, and they did an actual signing there. I was only 13 years old. We had some games. We had some traditional games. I remember we were snowshoe racing. We were just doing some traditional type games that time in '89. So, it's important that we educate all of our students on this day, all our people on this day. Very important. Well, they're kind of moving that thing, and those pictures are against that back wall there. But anyways, I just want to, I know there's a lot of speakers, so I want to thank all our dignitaries that are here, all our veterans, all our special guests, our drum group, and most of all, I want to thank our education staff for setting this all up. I asked, our admin team, can we do something for this day? I left it in their hands, and this is what they came up with, and I got to commend them. Can we give them a big round of applause? There's going to be a good traditional meal. They're preparing in the back room there. I walked in there this morning. They have fish, they have rabbits, they have moose meat. They've got the works back there. So we're going to have a good lunch. With that, thank you to our entity. Wish you all a great day and look forward to some of the speeches coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Next, I'd like to ask Conrad, do you want to come up?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Conrad, and thank you to the elder and Jennifer for the prayer, and also to the drum group for doing the grand entry. And it's a beautiful grand entry. Thank you. And my two little ones, you'll notice, were part of the grand entry. They just love that. So also, announcements to our veterans and our leadership that are here today from PETC and SIN, and also to the local leadership and the youth chief and council also over there, and our staff members here. And like Dean said, awesome job here. It's great to see something like this every time we have a celebration, and all the work that goes into this is done beforehand. And also to, like Dean mentioned, there was celebrations before, and it's always very important to take part. And many leaders have come and gone from the 1880s till now, and what they have tried to do is continue to fight for our people to maintain our treaty rights, which is treaty number 6 for ours. So I just want to make a quick mention to that we need to continue to fight that fight with the leaders that are going to be coming ahead. Like, we're going to be moving on eventually, and there's going to be young leaders that are going to be here in our place, so they have more work ahead of them. It is actually a responsibility of ours to maintain our treaty rights. And again, thank you to the everyone that came to celebrate with us today. I'm also recording for digital over here and also going live. For those who want to watch later, just go to the internet and search Montreal Treaty 6. So, and if those can be done on a later date if you like, I'll be editing here. Other than that, thank you for our MC here today, and our band manager here sits and helps it, and the staff and the principals and all that. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Let's say Troy. Troy Decamo.
Thank you, Marcian. I just want to say good morning to everyone. Thank you all for making it out today as we're celebrating our Adhesion year. I want to welcome all the dignitaries here, new faces here, Fabian, it's good to see you, Vice Chiefs, Brian Harlock. Good to see the elders here. Just come spend the day with us, our Youth Junior Chief and Council. And I want to say thank you to Iron Swing there. You felt when you walk in here during that grand entry, you can just feel that power in that drum. You can just feel it, and it just brings pride and joy. And it's a very powerful song when they do the drums. It feels good, especially smudging this morning. Thank you. I can't say it again. Did I begin? I can't. Sorry, started there. But thank you, Jennifer, for the prayer. I need my phone. Just one second. Where was I? I just want to say awesome job to the education. I'm guessing Blanche was the head here, looking after all the decorations. Always an amazing job. And I love the new one up there with the Montreal Creation logo and our medallion. It's very heartwarming, and especially all these years. I was looking at them earlier. It's like, okay, they had 2-year terms, 3-year terms, and some of them ran for about 2-3 terms. And then I look back here when I got here, my late grandpa. I was like, oh, I was proud to see that, and it felt good. It feels good to be here. I'd like to welcome everyone. We are having there is a bingo, I do believe, after. So I do believe they're talking, and the numbers are being Cree. So I'm gonna go probably get stressed out there trying to win. We just had a Cree language meeting this past weekend, so we're planning it. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go learn, but I'll probably miss a few numbers, but that's all right. We're here to celebrate, we're here to have fun, and thank you everyone for coming, and St. Charles home. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. If you ask Carol at this time.
Conrad's cheat notes. Good morning, everyone. I do want to say give thanks to our elder for the prayer this morning. Thank you to the drum for the presence today and the iron swing. It definitely is an amazing feeling walking in here today. I do want to say thank you to all our leadership that are here today, dignitaries, to Nolan for being our MC, and the decorations here, it's always amazing coming in, and it's really nicely decorated. Today is a really special day for Montreal Cree Nation, and along with Orange, we're here celebrating. What is it? 136 years of when we signed treaties, and always something near and dear to my heart. But I think about our students that are sitting here. Thank you, students that are sitting here listening. To the teachers for bringing your students in. Thank you. Just something that needs to continue on. I'm really grateful for having this celebration on February 11th. It's always something when I grew up in the school that always to remember February 11th. But to know that we're having this year, this is our 3rd or 4th year, and I really hope it continues for years and years, because we really need to celebrate it, because it needs to be remembered. What is a treaty? What are our treaties? As I was walking in here, I was thinking about I couldn't help just seeing all the pictures here of our previous chiefs, and then standing beside the flags there, I thought about how many chiefs and how many counselors in the past, have worked day in and day out for the flag, for the nation. So our past leadership, I give thanks to them for all their hard work and the stuff that they've done. I give thanks to our previous chiefs for leading the way in many, many ways. So as we were walking around here, I've seen all these beautiful paintings. I know our land base here at the school, but it was really nice to see that sorry, my daughter's trying to look at me and ask me a question. Okay. So when I was looking at those are some of our natural laws that we follow and abide by. So it was really nice to see that. I'm really grateful today to be here. Give thanks to everyone for being here. I'll keep it short. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, sir. And at this point, we'll just move on. We have no one from Orange down here to come and speak. So I'll go on to the Grand Chief at this time, Grand Chief.
You're good for now?
Yeah.
It's good right there.
Sorry about that. There was just
Senator Nolan, also a chief, as you see the pictures over there. Nolan. Jeg tortini til government and also X-Square og hva han fokuserer seg i egen sitt her og det blir han vi har i natten jeg noe bagen is she's not even also. Market at Saskatchewan, all the people that are present here with the front head table here, also a drum group, everybody from panic and serious. You see them now, I think you know me, Brian Harlow, the asshole. I'm a chief when he goes to stand on the shoot and go to the electoral office. India band, one of the nations, with the Adhesion in 1889. I get to go to it. We could say, I was a second like that. The children, who the well not the school children, that kind of scholar, also acknowledge all the teachers that take care of those kids and educate those kids to have that good start in their lives, to help them with that education. So I acknowledge all the educators and all the children. The drum group, I think they get asked, not from the Sturgeon Lake. The work goes to the veterans, very important. Stephen West, Mr. Highway, Tito Sawyer, in the national. Also in North, the man councillors, we acknowledge you. Of course, the chief, as the vice chief explained, is in Ottawa. It's an important business. Also FSI, newly elected ourselves, still say, but it's been a while. Are you a vice chief from the eastern sector? Really proud member of our member relations of the Prince Albert Grand Council. Baby and Ed to be with us. And of course my colleagues are I see the band manager that's here again, the live singing if that comes that Dave, you also very important role that you're playing within our nation. We'll go back at the outside but she's what I had I wrote Toronto. If you see Pascal, you can say what's the frame. Que até no país no para que no me Nationhood na vida kamska. No te hoy no que se me hago que no tengo a manejar se potasio na ni diga que cosas yo lo que me queda nada humano. Maga tú te metes y ahí no voy a pagar yo ya que todo exceso toda tu vida se llama. Que está mía que está cierto que you see beside me, they come over to see us come out the church, we support the church. But also in that way, in that good way, the spirituality that we see the power of answers, we also support them. To have that open mind, I think that's very important. Here this morning. I have to acknowledge a young gentleman there, Terry, Robert. We're about sorry. Terry, just to the teachers and also to the leadership. Here's a young man. He took over for Irving. Kind of retired now, but took over the research. And a big part of that research is with our treaties. And you see the pictures, the photographs, and the information with the photographs there. That's his work. So teachers, don't hesitate to give him a call and let him come and speak in their classrooms and teach our children about the treaty, especially without the adhesion. But a special acknowledgement here, leadership, treaty commissioner. Treaty commissioner, if you don't mind standing up, very important role. Let's have it. took over. Maybe not so new again. The last few months, I always took over for Mary. Had a new treaty commission, a very important role that continues. My friends, cada vez que se toca, muito que barato, a sua tamanho eu não entendi, só que estava. Barato, has to ask it. Every spring, summer, we celebrate Tree Day. You have to make extended that. That's a very important time. That was a very important day. And as a young generation, that's why I mentioned veterans for the young generation to keep that up with the importance of our treaty. Okay, as we were promised a lot of things, but there were shortfalls. But I think now we're starting to see shortfalls. One is the ammunition and wine stuff that we hear about, but the big one is the cows and plows that's coming to Montreal, like Cree Nation, and then many nations received that. And those are the treaty promises for our people that were made over 100 years ago. But now, in this path of reconciliation, we're trying to see that. The wrongs that were done and the injustices that were done to our people. So it's very important, the 1889 was 1876. The original Treaty 6 was signed in the Fort Carleton, and then later on in the fall, the Fort Pitt area. And we see that document, the signatures. We weren't on them. It wasn't until 13 years later that we were added as an adhesion, added to the treaty. So I commend the Office of the Treaty Commissioner for putting the sign. We see a sign, and I think they call it the hands of silver. And you see that A, Treaty 6A, that means the adhesion to Treaty 6. That time, it took quite a while with our history, and but the treaty parties, people that traveled, the Hudson Bay Company really benefited from the treaties. They really did. The Hudson Bay Company was there already for a long time, but they're the ones that had the things to trade, to bring in for our communities. So the treaty party at that time, after 1889, took quite a few years, in the early 1900s. It started from Prince Albert, and already there was a trail into Montreal Lake. And they would bring those York boats here and start off with a treaty party from here, down river, into the Ronds and north. And the other route they took was down the Saskatchewan River, into the Cumberland House, into that new lake, at the Sturgeon Wheel, into the Churchill River. Those were the routes that the treaty party took. And I mentioned, it was a big event for our people when it came to the treaties each year. So we have to keep that in mind. Be mindful of our history, of our treaties, and it's a very significant part of our life. We keep that like phenomenal on the sky. Saskatchewan, kinanasumit na ito tayo na sa is kumain ng rasa nila ito. Tigit na kaya. May sa tayo sa po tayo itabit na ito ito namin. Kahit sumit na kano sa mga agis. Igat ko ng isa. Tatamay yung Tebanat ito rasa tatamay. Usmay na nasumit na ispat yagwik. O Philippines ispat yagwik. I engage on every one of you individually. But come on, yes, I do. Like the Saudi thing, it found about that Cree Nation, Montreal Lake Cree Nation. Looks like can be higher.
Thank you, Reggie. Thank you for your education, and thank you for sharing it with us, the information. So at this point, I'd like to ask on behalf of our community, our school, the school staff, I'd like to ask Roger to come on up and make some remarks on behalf of the school committee.
Okay, last one. Thank you, Nolan. Last committee. Go, Nigan York. Last come Jennifer, last committee. Nano sa paski kena mama. Mama itu dia bisa moya last committee. Kumbaga, taksi lo last committee na oyos. Kilo mo tara bisi sekali last committee na. Ini ya ka. Daar moet ik say about 136 years ago, I was saying that the Adhesion Treaty picked around. The moment pictures of an overlay, the use of man, that must be seen on. I guess they said, Gideon Henderson speak at me, standing here, about the news, there to the man. You see, I give up big space, I missed a man, but I'm not going to be started. We got what it's there, that people do there. They don't get people PTM and we started. And we mount up there and we come out on that. We know you guys. Don't share that people do there, but I'm not going to know. So each and every year we're gathered in our community here to celebrate Treaty Day. Today is actually our Treaty Day, February 11th, 1889. And the other treaty that we celebrated was handed down by our government, the Department of Indian Affairs. They selected dates, we don't select dates. I'm really glad to see that we're gathered here today to celebrate Adhesion Treaty 6. We are in Treaty 6 territory. And I'm really proud that we're able to gather today. I want to thank our elder Jennifer for opening our event with a prayer to the drum group. Thank you guys for your attendance here today, to our leadership here. It's nice to see the leadership. To Grand Chief, we call him Brian, but he's got many other names that I can't say right now. So his late brother Leonard left him a legacy, left him a lot of names, but I can't use those names today. So thank you for your attendance, Grand Chief, to Vice Chief, to Sammy, to Vice Chief Joel, to Epstein Vice Chief David. Thank you guys for your attendance. To our leadership, Conrad, to Troy, Carol, Vice Chief Anderson. To our veterans that are here, our youth that are here, of course, the people that are here as well. It's a pretty important day and it's a historic day. And on behalf of our fellow school board members, I want to say thank you for your attendance and we want to welcome you to our community. So, Dave, thank you for your attendance. It's a pretty proud day for myself. I mentioned earlier, from the Elders Council, we used to sit around our leadership table and they always remind us, don't ever forget where you guys come from, don't ever forget Cree. Very important. And to all the historians or the people who do the history of our treaty, it's very important work, and I thank you for the work you do and you continue to do. It's important to our young people that are here. Just want to remind you, I just want to never forget, as I was reminded, don't ever forget treaty. It's important, that's who we are, we're treaty people. And I thank our treaty commissioners here today. Thank you for your visit for our community. And hopefully we'll have many more visits down the road. One of the things I want to leave with you is each and every summer we gather across the lake. Our treaty site signing, and we call them all the most cultural days. And one of the reasons we gather is when we celebrate the 100th year, and twice we talked about this a little bit. When we gather across the lake for the 100th year celebration, we busloads of children, people across the lake. But each and every year after that, we celebrated. We went to that site, and we started our multicultural days. There's quite a few quite a few years ago. And I remember back then, former Chief Roy, that, you know, we should have some sort of gathering to commemorate and to celebrate treaty, and that's, you know, that's what happened. That's what became our Montreal Culture Days. So, you know, it's turning out to be a bigger and a big event each and every year. We probably have anywhere from 500 to 1,500 people attend in one day, so it's quite important that we gather like that. So again, I'm just thankful that I'm able to join you guys here today. I was reminded I was supposed to be here, and I apologize for being late. But, thank Vice Chief for that. So I'm grateful that I'm able to say a few words on that. Again, thank you for your attendance. And you can ask him it now. Yes, second meeting.
Thanks, Roger. Thank you for making all those comments about various states and various dates. And I just wanted to, you know, like as was referred to, that Chief Roy Bird, during the time he was chief, is when we started all these celebrations. And but it also reminds me, 1981 was really the first time that our council went to Wallanosa. It was on the begging and also invited by one elder that had been there at the site and was asking us, come and acknowledge where your treaty was signed. Before that, there was never really any mention of that place. So in 1981 is when it really all started. Roy was chief, I was in council, and you know, we finally went to go and see that location. And what I can tell you is that I remember that there was a round brass ring sticking out of that rock that sits there today. And it stood maybe about 4 or 5 inches above that rock. And so sometime between that visit and sometime later, I believe around 5, 6 years, that someone had gone and taken out that emblem that had been there, that brass emblem. And I remember the insignia around on top, it said reserve. That's what it said on there. And so anyway, just got a piece of information for all of us. So anyway, I'd like to go on to the speakers and like to ask Vice Chief Fabian Head to come on up and
Digan, nanas ko mawitawi mo, mag-isip ako amigo, pinamay pagdata, amigo agad, nanas ko mawite, kapi pas tinang may, tagapi mama ito, kumina, diwa nagamog, tawa Trump, nanas ko maw, pipitigay ko, saan man nagamoy na doons, ay how, Fabian Head sigas, because ko bagas goods niya, 35 territory, they go the Treaty 5 River. We signed the treaty 1876 na he's na usita ano masay pamatu usigate maka nyo taga pelipaya pagit na bigis ko na utol sa kahit ang skema umaga na Chief Bobby Cameron, Vice Chief Pratt, Vice Chief Laurent, and of course, Vice Chief Craig McCall and myself, greetings to your nation, yo all. Sa niya ay sino, na nasa mga gusto umaga, Joyce, gusto ay ipintumit, minuwa ko tabi suino, kaya, nantanos ko gusto Grand Council, kapayat, minapagyo yo all, kaya, nantanos ko, Udol tayo niya niyo, uswero, umaga, talos ko gusto ako kapit si. Minan Ruther, want to also acknowledge our former Vice Chief and your Director of Education, Simon Bird here as well. So, and also please my very greetings, I said on behalf of the Saskatchewan on this very important celebration, Treaty 6. Treaty 6, all the treaties, the number of treaties from treaties 1 to 11 are very important. It not only demonstrates our nationhood, our jurisdiction, our sovereignty on the original island, the Turtle Island, what the federal government has called Canada. We have to remember that we are here first. We are the original peoples of these lands. And it was the federal government, Great Britain and Ireland, that came to us as Neo, Aisino, the First Nations people here in Canada. Even that term, First Nation, is a colonial term. We have to identify ourselves going forward as who we are. For example, Neo, I am a rare Cree, you are the Montreal Cree. That's your sovereign destiny, that's your sovereign jurisdiction by proclaiming that you are the people from here. And that's how it was the day before treaty. And I want to share with you an analogy, a treaty and an analogy that I learned from my senator back home. And I want you guys to look at that treaty symbol up there, a circle. As you see that river that's in the middle of that circle, I want you to picture two canoes. Picture two canoes on that body of water. And on this side, we, the indigenous people, Neo, we on this side of the river, we will govern ourselves accordingly. You on this side of the river, you, the federal government, provincial government, you govern yourselves accordingly to that side of the river. Maga, from time to time, we'll come together and we'll work together. See, that's how it's supposed to be on the day of treaty. That's how it's supposed to be. The day before treaty, we were self-governing nations. We asserted our jurisdiction. We lived our cultures. We lived our Cree laws. We implemented our Cree laws. We had our own legal traditions that we lived by, that our elders, that our warrior societies also followed. And it was our women that were the matriarchs of our nations, the lawmakers. And you, the youth that are here, the young people that are here, you have to see yourself as a nation builder going forward, because you are a nation builder. Because when our time is up, us the chiefs that are sitting here, my colleagues, the leaders, when our capacity is done, you have to step in and carry that role to lead your future, to lead your youth into the future. So I bring those greetings on behalf. I can keep talking about treaty. And I'm very passionate, and I'm very passionate, as you can tell from my how I'm presenting on treaties, and I can keep talking for another hour. But one thing I also learned, I appreciate coming to Montreal late as well. I was here back in November, and when I made reference to Red Earth, we have the exact same gymnasium. So I'm sitting at home in Red Earth. That's how I picture you guys here. We have the same gym. And our senator mentioned 1981. That very important day when your nation started going to Malinosa. That was the year as well I was born. So it was hi.
Thank you. Next thing, Vice Chief Joe, you might not take them out. We take straight. Thank you.
Igano dito nas mga mantugino sa isra so do kinamawali pa na nawal ton ska interview ato was no kinas kuan agido kinagawa sa ina Jennifer Tini Luminas so pagmasi ko yo tinigin to sa and the discussion yung monthly the February 11th 1889 sa location hindi daga manamaga kaso sa Muslim daga. Ito so winita at beside and middle we must now understand. To turn out we must start. Iginawa dapat ni ang sisiwa, consisting is wichiwa. Iwan ni to mamadu ni dapat ni ang sa isa. Tapos ito is pa dahil. I just want to say I acknowledge the Creator giving us this opportunity to come and share our stories. It's really a great day of February 11th, 1889. As you walk into this gymnasium, I've never, ever, it always seems to amaze me when I walk in here. You know, Montreal League does their part. When they invite us, invite the community, you know, they go in style and they do their history. And seeing that, you know, it says that into their hearts that they never do care for their community and also the visitors that come in. I just want to acknowledge, you know, when you look at the ecological aspect of our people, the Rock Cree, over 1,000 years ago, there's pottery that was found in northeastern Saskatchewan. The Rock Cree meet that. Imagine, you know, some of these pottery that were found. We've been here. We never crossed any Bering Sea or anything like that. We were here. Our first days is here. You know, I just want to say this to acknowledge everybody that's here today because this is a great day of celebration. But it's a new day, you know, what they do together. Tapi kami na bodo ini itu ada sudah muito ao sisi não suba para ele que não é suba para não se escanear itu ya está. You know, I'm proud Rock Cree, Stony Cree and Swan Lake Cree because my grandma's from Cumberland House. So I'm part Swan Cree, part Cree, and I'm proud of that. The heritage that I come from. When you ask someone and you look down on that and say, oh, everybody has shared so much, you know, I carefully just listen to everybody that shares everything because we pick up something and we can ignite and we can utilize some of those stories and it helps us with our heritage. With the next generation that are here today, you know, they are our future. As you see, these are the pioneers where we're at today. I'd like to acknowledge them and you guys can give them a round of applause. I know they're here in spirit. And also, you know, just to look at the brief history of our veterans, our soldiers. They didn't have to fight like we are today. Like, you know, I celebrate that Remembrance Day right core to my heart because we have peace today because of them. And they had a choice. They didn't have to go. But anyways, you know, with that, I just want to say this to acknowledge the Chief and Council of Montreal Lake, everybody that's here today. I was, you know, asked them what is that. I didn't know what that is. We celebrate the Umota. You know, I just want to on behalf of Peter Valentine Congregation, you know, Peter A. B. is under surgery right now. You know, I missed some weight, you know, to rapidly heal. He's going through a surgery right now. So I talked to him the other day. But just keep me in my prayers, keep those. So I acknowledge him, you guys that he would have been here for sure to celebrate with you guys. And he's not asking now, I don't be able to sleep. You know, it's going you know, this now, you endure every day with those kids because you are the second parents to these children. They depend on you. And they will look up to you and then they will always look up to you until they're grown up and they'll respect you for the rest of their lives. Thank you for what you do. And God bless you in this day.
Thank you, Vice Chief Joe. We'll touch on that big screen, and with that, I'd like to ask Vice Chief Sani to come on up.
Thank you, Nolan, and good afternoon to everybody, and belated good morning. No, we passed morning, it's afternoon now. My name is Joseph Desani with the Prince Albert Grand Council. I come from the community of Hatchel Lake, Dennis Latina First Nation, Treaty 10 territory. And I do acknowledge our elders that are here, our drum group that opened this morning. Always good to get that refresher, to hear the drum is always good in our communities. I do acknowledge the youth and the elders and the women that are here, the leadership that are here today, and the staff. This beautiful school that we have in the community. I know we have majority of our, you know, it's in here in this building that we have majority of them are students and young people. So I'm gonna see if I can talk and to give some opportunity and just to be a brief background in terms of what I want to say here today. And in terms of our elders and our former leaders that we have on the wall and our forefathers that have worked so hard in terms of the treaties that we have, you're probably wondering why we're sitting here and listening to, you know, when you can be on social media and be out there and posting stuff. You know, the foundation of treaty is very important. It's the opportunity that our grandfathers and our relatives in our community, they negotiated the treaty for us to have an opportunity. They opened the doors and left the legacy for us, the young people. The legacy there is the duty that is put on you to be the best that you can be. The duty for you to get continued with your education, the opportunity, that's what treaties is about. You have a school that is built. We have our healthcare system. The foundation is there. The duty is there for us to take that step, to take advantage of the opportunity that our grandfathers had left for us. Right now, you're probably hearing a lot about AI, artificial intelligence. I call it Aboriginal intelligence, some of us. To power AI, it's going to take a huge amount of energy to power the artificial intelligence. And all that data, the computers that go into that, it's a huge demand. Right now, you're probably hearing, you're watching the news, there's leaders even from Canada all over the world are meeting in France, talking about artificial intelligence. They're talking about that because they know it's a threat if not used properly, but it's an opportunity for us too. So to power that kind of information technology, you need a huge amount of energy to power those. So now you're hearing a lot from the United States how they want to come and take over Canada. I don't believe they can, but you know, at the end of the day, they're talking a lot about the energy to power artificial intelligence, and that's our critical minerals. That's from uranium, rare earth, and all these things, the mining companies, that what they take out of the ground, that's going to power a lot of this information technology. The demand is there. But we have an opportunity as young people to get educated, to get into these fields. Stay in school. You have a duty to your ancestors, to your grandparents, to take advantage of the opportunity and get out of this bubble. Because right across the country, we need our young people to rise up. If we don't, we're going to fall behind, fall between the cracks, and we're not going to be successful. So the work that we do moving forward, we, as leaders, as adults, we need to continue to push our students and our community to make healthy choices. And I encourage the students to continue to make those healthy choices. Yes, we all make mistakes, but don't let that determine your future. Correct your mistakes, apologize, and acknowledge your mistakes, and move forward. Don't dwell on it, and move forward. We have an opportunity now. You see what's going on all over the world. We have an opportunity to stand up and be prepared for our communities and our grandfathers that left that good legacy. One good thing about, many good things about the treaty is the medicine chest. We have that medicine chest to look after our own people. We still haven't occupied the field of health. We need the doctors and the nurses to occupy that so we can look after our own people. So if you are wondering how can you exercise, what can you do in terms of protecting your treaty, stay in school, get your education, because knowledge is power. It's so powerful, nobody can take that away from you. So the land and culture is always important. You know, as white people, they always talk about power and money, buying all the things. But our people, we are powerful because our value is within the land. Nothing can replace that. You can't live on money, you can't eat money, but the food and the wildlife that are out there, our land, our access to clean water, that is more valuable than anything else. And that is what is unique about our people. And that's what our elders had always talked to us. Protect the land, take care of the land. Don't throw garbage all over the land. Pick up the garbage if you see it. Look after our waters. I think that those are the most important thing. So moving forward, I just want to again, you know, we have our senators. You know, another big thing is by occupying. What can we do as young people if you're looking? Why are you in school? Why are we listening to this? Because we need you. We need you to be powerful in your minds, with your education, and come back to our communities and support us. We're trying to build a police force. That's what Dave's here. Maybe Dave, if you want to stand up real quick so they know who you are. Dave's been working with us for RCMP. Maybe give him a hand. He likes that. He likes giving standing ovations. So Dave has been working with us. Another treaty opportunity is we got to look after our justice system, our policing. We want our communities to be safe. We want our communities to be safe so our children are not scared to go to school, be in school, and be the best that they can be. So that is our goal. We want to occupy the field of justice and policing because we can. That's what our forefathers have told us, the legacy, the groundwork that they have done. We need to look after our own. So we're probably about a year away in terms of getting that report and making those decisions about policing. We want to encourage our students. Look into law enforcement. Work within our own. We'll have our own police force. We want people to look after our communities, to make it safe so our children can go to school, have a good night's sleep without worrying about anybody else coming in and having a bad influence on our communities. So with that, to the leaders, to the community, I know you have a lot of good people, good-hearted. We come together, celebrate cultural activities, going fishing, setting the nets and hunting is very important as well. But encourage the students to stay in school and we need you. We want you to know that you're so much value, you mean so much to us, but we need you. So with that, to the leadership, Muncie Show having us, and to our veterans that are here, I acknowledge them. They continue to advocate for our people and our senators and our leadership in the community. Thank you very much, and to the community, thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you very much for all your comments. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Kathy Walker to come and say a few words. Kathy?
So it's now 12:30, everyone's hungry, and it's my turn. So anyway, Kathy Walker Nitsila son Okini Sochinia Kaite Maga Saskatchewan Active New Watts. So I just introduced myself, obviously. I'm originally from Okini's First Nation in Treaty 4 territory. And I'm the Treaty Commissioner for Saskatchewan. I've been in this role since September 30th, which also just happened to be National Truth and Reconciliation Day. And anyway, I wanted to start by thanking the elder for their prayer, the drum group for their beautiful song, all of you for being here today, especially the young people and the elders for being part of this celebration of Treaty 6A, the signing of it. And also I want to thank all of the leadership here from the Prince Albert Grand Council and the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, our veterans, our young junior chiefs, the young leadership at the table here, the Montreal Lake Cree Nation, of course, leadership and community for hosting this day, and also to our MC here for introducing everyone. So the reason why we're here is really to thank our ancestors, though, as well. Your ancestors, the Ogamau, the chiefs that had a vision for treaty when they signed Treaty 6A, and that's who we really have to thank for upholding treaty for basically 136 years. That's how long it's been. And their vision was so strong that it didn't matter what their so-called treaty partners at the time, the Crown, did, with Indian residential institutions or, illegal land surrenders, not providing for the agricultural benefits that were promised, all of these different things that were obligations under treaty. And throughout all this time, the oral history, the elders upheld that oral history. They upheld what happened at the time of treaty, that Tapwaywen, the actual truth, despite the Crown and all of its institutions, its lawyers saying the only thing that matters is the written words of the treaty. But we know that that's not the case. That what was written down was actually not reflective of what actually happened during treaty signing. And even with Treaty 6A, when the leaders met with the Crown on this exact day, right near this location, to provide for their people, the treaty commissioner at the time, A.J. Irvine, already came with the Treaty 6 text. And so he already knew what he wanted the people to sign. And that was already a violation of treaty making of the process. But the leaders at the time were not fooled. They had their own processes. Our First Nations had our own processes of what treaty making entailed. We have our own words for treaty and what treaty means. Now, I know the Montreal Lake Cree Nation recently launched a Woodlands Cree Language Act, which, again, I want to congratulate your community and your leadership on that accomplishment. That's a huge thing to be able to do. And also, I know members of the Language Committee, the Nationhood Language Committee are here that have also been the backbone of that. And I want to congratulate you as well. But anyway, one of the reasons why I bring up the app is not only to congratulate you all on it, but also to note that on the way here, I looked up the word for treaty under the app, and the first word was chigahigana, axes, and then kokusiwaya, bacon. So basically all the words associated with treaty were about all of the promises and all the things, what it means basically to live treaty and to have a good life and to have good relations. Because we have our own words for treaty. And they're not necessarily in the app, maybe we can talk about that later, but there's another book called Treaty Elders of Saskatchewan, where there were elders throughout Saskatchewan. Actually, 25 years ago this year, the book is now 25 years old, and we only have one elder, Jacob Bill from Pelican Lake, who is still surviving, who was actually interviewed as part of that book. He's going to be 102 on March 7th. But what's really interesting about that book is that the elders explained and put down and shared all their words for treaty. And I think that really tells us about the spirit and intent, and also what treaties really mean and why they're so relevant today. So one of the words is tipahamaktuin, which basically means to treat one another commensurately. And that means that we have a reciprocal obligation to one another. So when the treaties were signed, it was not one-sided, where the Crown was supposed to take land and resources and all of these things. It was really about what is the exchange, what is the promises. We both were supposed to be sharing the land. There was supposed to be a reciprocity there. Another word in that book for treaties is kichiasu tomatoana, which means, or is translated in the book as sacred undertakings, or sacred covenants, because the treaties were also made before Creator. They were signed using the pipe. They were part of the ceremony. And so that's another meaning that is very relevant today. But the main thing, one of the main things that the elders want us to know is that the treaties are a living relationship. We taske when they're a way of sharing the land. And so, we can talk about the different promises and the law and that sort of thing, but really the treaties are a living relationship. And one of the great things about First Nations is that, especially, when I come to communities like Montreal, Lake Cree Nation, what I see is people living the treaties. You're celebrating the ancestors, you're upholding the vision, you're educating the next generation. You're also revitalizing the language, not only for you, but for everybody, by using technology. And so it's really about, today for me, it's really about continuing and reminding ourselves that each of us can be part of that, can take that relational responsibility to uphold the treaties. And while the mandate of the Office of the Treaty Commissioner is to help bring parties together, to bring the Crown and First Nations together, to come to mutual understanding on issues concerning the treaties, and that's a very important thing to do because we have a lot of issues that still need to be addressed. 136 years after the signing of Treaty 6A, we know that there's still a lot of outstanding issues. Some of our leadership here have mentioned those things. But we also know that we also all have a responsibility to the treaties to uphold them as well. And that's all people. So we have this nice saying that we're all treaty people. And we say that, we like to say it, but how many of us actually understand what that means? How many of us actually live the treaties? And each one of us can do that, whether we're an elected representative or not. And so that's also another big role of the Office of the Treaty Commissioner, is to ensure that there's education, research, and that truth and reconciliation through treaty implementation is upheld throughout Saskatchewan, so that everybody truly lives what it means to be treaty people. Anyway, I'll stop now. Thank you.
Ik zei tegen dat die daar zo ben, Treaty Commissioner, met de KPP screen en ook in dat video ga ik naar school te moeien. Wanneer ga je ook juist, while everyone's making his way up here, I just want to acknowledge a a person that has always been with us, and but his wife is here. Asri Bird, Mam Skomak, stay BWG, Madam Umota, Eliza, National Nota, and BWG Week. So, anyway, we have one of our. Didn't you know? I think I'm the last one. I'm not sure. I'll try to make it short. People highlight say us, but I can also too. You go how? Mother used to go away. Well, I really got me at them skull over that not be able to get up to. And you here's that moment. Big Swiss Tamago, I was the one story of the streets. What did you ever touch the way that was? My skin off, happy or happy to finish school. I was all those skin on, I think I was happy now. The up. Things got down there also, the Russia always thought, very important. You go in any organizers, you go in any of the high school, you go in any, and that's come out of Nagamgo. I mean, that's what they go now. You study very obviously. Maybe they want to also none of the Montreal, they always keep on me, go there. Maybe they want that Montreal mission, stepping on you, which is good. Today, and you know, you big skin or that's good to have. Alan Bird, man, great up. Coffee man, you knew that problem. He was a Korean veteran. Stephen Ross never asked what to excuse me. Well, with us, I got to skip up with Norman Anderson. I went out there with their name on. I was there. Supporting Nationhood now that we talk to me. I want to acknowledge everybody that's here. The leadership, of course, and the elders, teachers, the children. I want to thank the previous speakers. I sat over there and I picked up a lot of lessons that I remember. But I quickly want to mention why Indigenous people joined the military in the First World War, the Second World War. They fought and died in the Korean Peninsula during the Korean War. They fought and died in the streets of Afghanistan. Many Aboriginal people were there. Peacekeeping, 35 countries. They were sent by the United Nations and by the North Atlantic Trade Organization on peacekeeping missions. 250. Stephen was in Cyprus and so was I, but at different times. There were 250 Maori peacekeepers were killed. Sometimes I'm asked why I went into the military, and I had to think about that for a bit. And I'll tell you why. As has been mentioned before, veterans didn't have to go into the military, but they did. When I first came back, after 20 years, I did 3 tours overseas, I came back, and somebody stopped me on the street and called me a traitor because I had joined the White Man's Army. Kind of took me by surprise, because I was proud of what I had, where I had been, what I had done, what I had seen. Some of it good, some of it bad. But I ran into him again in the food court in Prince Albert, and again he called me a traitor. But this time I was ready for it. I said to him, you know, those of you who never wore the uniform, and those of us who wore that uniform, you know, we feel a little bit sorry for you because you'll never know the joy that we felt
you felt inside you for having served under the flag of Canada, a flag that didn't always protect us as Indian people, but we still meant. And it's important to remember that because the Aboriginal people who went there were people from Montreal Lake, from Pelican, from all over the north, and they were trappers, they were fishermen, they were hunters, they were gatherers, not too well educated, but like I said, they were willing to fight and die under a flag that didn't always protect the Indian people. And you gotta wonder why anybody would want to do that. But that's why they went, because the love of the land, they decided that's what to ski on. I will tell you, I get to teach it. Maybe you would deep miss now, I was speaking. Montreal to be huge. Many are laying, who fought and died, many of them are laying overseas in Commonwealth cemeteries, never again to come home, to hear their parents say to them, I love you, or to feel the hugs of their grandparents, because they will never come home. Those are the things that I remember many times when I come to Montreal Lake and I think, and I see the pictures around the wall that the school children put up. And one more thing before I stop by, spirituality, I believe, was mentioned here, our culture, our history. I second that. I heard so much from the leadership that we have to get back to our spiritual beliefs and learn about our history. Our history did not begin when the missionaries came from overseas. We have a history prior to that, and we've got to get back to that. I hear speakers sometimes say that that we had a matriarchal society, that the women were the leaders. Today I see men running around conducting ceremonies, sweat lodges and pipe ceremonies, smudging, the horse dance, the ghost dance. Where are the women? We have to think of those things. We have to get back and not only talk about it, but practice what we taught. It's very important. We're brave people, we're courageous people, we're knowledgeable people. We have to instill a pride back where it belongs. Not to believe what they taught us in residential school, that we were no good, that most of us would someday be standing on a street corner with a tin cup begging for nickels and dimes for our next drink. To be Indian is not to be an alcoholic. We've got to get back to our culture. I want to mention one more thing before I stop. There's a saying, if you dip your cup into a lake and bring up some water, and you look into that cup of water and you see your reflection, you're not understanding what spirituality is. But if you look into that cup of water and you see Creator, then you are beginning to get back to your beliefs and your culture. With that, I want to thank you one more time for asking me to share with you a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Last week, I was just asked by Vice Chief Fabian here a question. And for those of you Cree speakers, ones that are involved with the creation of the app, the question to you is how do you say astronaut in Cree? Okay, there's a short version is Kanagataskid. So anyway, we have one more, and lunch is coming, lunch is here, and so I'd like to ask Stephen to close off his order of speakers, and I'd like to thank all of you for being patient and for listening. After this, we've got another stream of events coming on.
Thank you, Listas. It looks like someone left me their notes. That's where I'll start. Bigyan mo na sa mga kami doon sa Agitsi. At doon ay kami rapat na may nagsipayaw tayo sila. Siwat sa mga kami. And that's the drums, iron swing. Nasa umaga na natin kapsiyo, wadaw siyo mantyo. Uyuyo, kapi, uchiyo about. Kagano yan, Kawasaki Ichigo. Join the procession, the grand entry. Thank you for helping us out. You're great help. And our students and the teachers always do a beautiful job here, hours. And every year and Remembrance Day ceremonies, it's always a beautiful job. And you know those pictures of Remembrance Day that we have here hanging all around? They're known to the Grand Council after we're done here. So you've done a beautiful job. You've done a beautiful job. I'm gonna ask you. Treaty is a very important event when our people sign treaty. Our people, that was before schools came up north. They only had the missionaries were here. Some government, very few government offices, but also the fur traders had this here. They took over, but you know, our people were here first. And they survived. They survived the cold weather, the signed treaty. And very, very smart people, because before schools, they couldn't read. They couldn't read the text. And they were very diligent to be able to sign and understand what was being said. And a lot of it we know, we've heard stories. And we know that. And there's still a lot of work to do. That's why people keep on saying, take advantage of that treaty right of education. It's yours. You can go as high as you want. Don't let anything stop. The only one that can stop you is yourself. You can accomplish anything you want. Getting to my lecture here. So, you can achieve it if you want. You can get there if you want. You can reach your goals. But again, we have treaty rights. We have treaty rights that we sometimes forget. We'd rather go somewhere else. Than understand our treaty rights. And our people, our elders, knew that as well. Up on the time of the treaty, that we must try and get into think like the white people, think like the white man, and do what they do, grab what they have, take what they have, and make use of it, and make your people proud. Make your people proud. Make your children proud. And the elders will always be around. The elders will always be watching and listening. So don't be afraid to go to an elder. Talk to them. Ask them questions. They'll do their best to answer. You can ask them. You'll ask them how they had.
Thank you, Nisas. With that, then, lunch is ready, and I'd like to ask Jennifer to come on up and give us a prayer for the food. Okay, for the students, just to quieten up a little bit and have a seat, and Daryl is here to help us along. Give it.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Montreal Lake Cree Nation. Montreal, my name is Daryl McCollum. Everybody kind of calls me Boots McCollum on NBC sometimes. I'm also known as a singer in northern Saskatchewan. I play with a group called the Rest Boys. And those of you, if you want to come and watch my PowerPoint, you can come a little bit closer so you can see the screen as I'm going through my presentation. It's okay if you want to shut the lights, you don't have to see me. We're here to show a presentation, so whoever had those lights going, yeah, you can shut them up. Okay, and this afternoon I've been invited here to speak a little bit on the treaty education part, the important part of teaching treaties in the school. So first of all, what I do in Greater Valentine Cree Nation is I go to each school in the Shambo Lake, South End, Pelican Arrows, and we make sure that we're teaching treaties in the school. And that's what my job is, to make sure that the teachers are teaching treaties in the classroom. So right from kindergarten to grade 12, every one of our classroom has what they call a treaty kit. And with that treaty kit, you can start teaching the treaties right from kindergarten to show the children that they're first of all First Nation, that they're Indigenous, and they're from Turtle Island, and that they belong here, and they've always been part of Turtle Island. And that's the most important teaching of the treaty curriculum. When treaties were signed, one of the things that happened at treaties is the government created what they call an Indian Act. In order to perform that treaty, they wanted to make sure that they were in charge of the education. So for a very long time, they educated us the way that they thought was the best way. And today we know that wasn't the best way. But before the treaty, traditionally our people lived out on the land, and their education was out on the land. It was not in a school. Everything they learned was from the land. So prior to treaty, this is how our people lived. There was no schooling. Your schooling was done by teachings. Your schooling was done by living off the land. And the other part that's very important, somebody mentioned this earlier. One of the speakers mentioned the importance of our spirituality. I believe one of our veterans. It's important to know our spirituality. And with that being said, in the treaty curriculum, they teach the First Nations worldview. This is what the Indigenous person believed before treaty, before the Montreal, the white man, before he came to this country. This is how we believe. How many of you are Cree? Still speak Cree? There's only one word that's repeated twice in the Cree language. When you speak about your spirit, before Christianity, we were star people. We said good night to the stars because we believed our ancestors were the stars. Because in Cree, when you say your spirit, it's the same word as star. Achak. Right? Achak. So every one of us, we walk around with Ikachak. And in Cree, when you really start to learn about who you are, even when you ask a person in Cree, what's your name? You're actually asking that person, what is the name of your belly button? Because the Cree word for belly button is kitise. Why do we say that? So when you research that word, kitise, when we went to residential school, we used to wear a little pouch. Every one of us little Cree kids used to wear a pouch. And your mother's womb, they used to cut a little piece of your mother's womb when you were born. And they put it in that pouch and you carried a piece of that pouch and you were named after that pouch. That's why they said, what's the name of your belly button? Mine is Boots. Nah, just kidding. But those were the first things that were ripped off your chest when we went to residential school 100 years ago. When they ripped off your name and they gave you a new name. We all used to have Indian names, Cree names. Those are forgotten now because residential school didn't allow you. Your Cree name was erased by David, John, one of the Bible names. They took names from the Bible to name our people all the time. That's why every reserve nowadays, you say John, there's 20 people that might turn around and look at you. Right? There's so many Johns, there's so many Davids, there's so many common names. Because the priests and the nuns had control over naming you. And that's what happened before treaty. So this is very important to show the children to pray to Creator. If you don't want to use Christianity, show the children that there is a Creator, someone who created you. Because if a kid grows up in the school, in your community, without being taught who God is, they will have no consequence. They can beat up somebody and not even feel it. Because they don't feel no guilt because somebody forgot to teach them about God. And that's what we've got to do as parents too. As parents, it's our jobs to teach our children that there is a Creator. He's looking after you. He made you. You're important. Every one of you are important because the Creator doesn't make garbage. The Creator creates beautiful things. And it's up to us to bring that beautiful side out of us. So look at the way Indian people used to believe. And some of us still believe in this. Like we have respect for plants. We go and pick up the medicines. Small life forms. Even a spider. What do you call a spider in Cree? Guguminakitsus. Gugum. The root word grandmother insect. Why? Because before treaty there was a big birch bark dwelling where the woodland Cree people lived inside the birch bark dwelling. The grandmother spider would start making the web in the corner and catch all the flies so that the kids wouldn't get sick. So the grandmother spider was actually very sacred. Today, little children, when they see a spider, right? We're trying to stop and kill that little spider. We can't teach the kids how to kill at that age. We're teaching children how to kill even with an insect. You can't do that. You're teaching that kid the wrong thing. Respect that little insect because that insect even has life. Look at Indian people, how smart they were today. You look at forensic science on TV. Well, my grandmother, when I was a little boy, when I had my hair cut, my grandmother would burn our hair right away. Because my grandmother would say, there's still life in your hair. It took the Montreal 300 years to figure out there was DNA in your hair. Indian people already knew that. So we're more knowledgeable in a lot of these sciences. So we have to relearn the world view of Cree people, and sometimes you have to step out of where you are in order to teach this. So that's what we teach in the schools. The world view that it's important that you are First Nations. And then only then we start talking about the treaty. What is a treaty? Treaty rights. It's a written agreement that we agree with each other we're going to move forward on these conditions. So, when you look at the treaty, not a lot of people ever talk about the acts. Back then, Montreal were only farm people. When they were talking treaty, we only want this much land just to farm. So the Indian stuck an axe in the ground and said, okay, you can only use that much. Because underneath the ground is minerals, and that don't belong to you. Right? So it's very important what they were doing. So the axe only gives us 6 inches. The rivers flow. The sun is shining. So all part of that agreement basically says it's a promise forever. As long as the sun is there. Maybe one of these days the sun will go dark, I don't know, and that tree will be no longer. But even it's so important because even right now, Donald Trump and his tariffs. Some of our people are looking into their treaties on how is this going to implement or impact my treaty. So that's why treaties are so important even for you young people in high school to learn about your treaties. It's unfortunate, I myself, I became a chief. I was a chief. I learned about my treaties in grade 8. In our school, I should have been learning treaties from kindergarten. And I never even learned about Indian people till grade 8. Because everybody kept that knowledge from us. They didn't want you to know that there was heroes up there. Indian heroes. People that paved the way for that treaty. But we didn't know about them because they kept that knowledge from us. And today this is the word that they use. The word Indian is used in our treaty. It's a term that's considered outdated and offensive, but has been used historically to identify indigenous people. So sometimes, what if we have this Pierre Pallio, or whatever you call him, this upcoming new Stephen Harper fella, and says, well, you guys call yourselves indigenous now. You're no longer Indian. Your treaties are no longer. What if he says something like that just based on a word? We don't know. So we gotta be very, very careful when we want to go change words. Because the treaties reference the word Indian, not indigenous. So that's very important, but a lot of people, sometimes we follow suit with, just because everything else is getting indigenized, don't mean we particularly have to start changing titles. Because there is a reason why that word Indian was here. They were lost. They were looking for Indians. So we have to keep that word the way it's written in treaty. Instead of trying to change it, because you might have a government who might want to change that treaty, and it's not going to be a treaty that's an advantage for us. Because you got to remember in Canada, this treaty has treated itself very well on one side. Right? I call it, for me, the treaty has been very mistreated on the Indian side. And it's been treated very well on the non-Aboriginal side. So that's why there's always a contentious Indian versus the government in Canada, because the treaty has always created that animosity or contention on treaty, or making sure we keep an eye on that treaty. Because your full title as a chief is a CFA, Chief Fiduciary Agent. The government's actually paying the chief to keep an eye on all its Indian monies on behalf of those Indians. And that's all. They don't pay for no band concerts, nothing. You're the only federally paid position, and you're only there to keep an eye on the money. They don't even talk about anything about leadership. They only talk about keeping an eye on the money. That's the only time you have in Ottawa. So, and when we're teaching treaties, this is a good question to ask yourself. What are the treaty rights? What do we know about our identity? What do we know about do I know about the treaties and do I need more training? What am I currently doing as a teacher to affirm our treaty right to education? What curriculum do I use to teach identity? These are even questions you ask yourself as a band member. Do I really know my rights? A lot of times a band member will say, I want a band house. It's my right. It's my treaty right to get a band house. Well, you know what? There is no such thing. Housing is not a treaty right. Some people will even say, those pills I go get at the hospital, that's my right. No, it's not. Even though we have a medicine chest, we've never challenged the medicine chest clause to identify it as a treaty right. So medicine and housing, they're delivered as a social policy. Social policy, just like we're on welfare. That's how they count us, to make up a magic formula to come up with how they're going to pay. So those are not rights. Those are the jobs of the chiefs and the council across Canada to affirm housing as a treaty right, to affirm the medicine chest clause as a legal treaty right. Those are our jobs. Right now they are not there, but that's our work to do. And the most important teaching in treaty education is identity. The treaty is part of your identity. Since the day they signed your treaty, it's become part of your identity. Just like my dad, when I used to go play volleyball on a weekend from school. Okay, Dad, I'm taking off to go play volleyball. Don't forget you're a treaty Indian. He'd say that to me at the door, and I'm going, okay. I walk by. But what my dad was really trying to say to me is, don't forget who you are when you leave this house. That was so important. And it was because of my dad. My dad wouldn't allow me to speak English in my house when I got home from school, day school. So some ways, our own parents figured out a way how to preserve our language. I thank my dad today for doing that. And you know, about 30 years later, my dad started having great-grandchildren. How are you doing today? Dad, you're forgetting your beliefs. Because that's what's also killing our culture. Instead of talking to that kid, here's your iPad. So there's no language being exchanged. And we expect our children to learn the Cree language when we don't talk to them. How are they supposed to learn when we don't talk to them? How are we supposed to talk treaty when we don't even talk treaty in our homes? Do we ever sit down and shut off the TV and say, do you guys really know who you are? Do you know that you're Cree? Where I come from, we don't call ourselves Cree, we call Asinskawit. Asinskawit means Rocky Cree. That's the name that's we carry. Asinskawit, no Rocky Cree person. TH dialect. Rich. Our history has pottery that's been found in our areas over 10,000 years. So we've been here well before anybody else. And in Canada, when you're reading the books as students, teachers, when you're teaching your lessons, we are the most labeled people in Canada, in the world. Every time the Canadian government tries to correct itself with Indian people, they come up with a new name. They think that new name is going to cure Indian people. Look at it. Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal, Bill C-31 Indian, Treaty Indian, First Nations, Indian, band member. Every time you read any kind of book in Canada that talks about Indian people, one of these words might pop up. So they're referencing Indigenous people. But look at how many labels. And no other country does that. But this is every time they try to correct themselves politically. It's like, I remember one time there used to be an office called Indian Affairs. Then all of a sudden, Aboriginal Affairs. Now it's Indigenous Affairs. Right? Did the color of your skin change 3 times? No. But they're trying to change the name to try and correct what they're doing wrong. So that's what I mean about labeling. Like, it's dangerous when they change these names too, because if they call me Indian to Aboriginal to Indigenous, and if nobody taught that to the poor little kid in kindergarten, he's walking around, I don't know who I am. Really? I don't know who I am. Am I Indigenous, Aboriginal, or First Nation? That's why it's so important to teach them. Because some kids, I swear to God, in the hallway, who are you? I don't know. And some of them, you freak them out because that's the first time somebody actually asked them that question too. I want to know why you that, right? Who are you? Well, the first time I ever decided to run for chief, I lived 2 doors down from an elder that was 90 years old, and I went running over there. I was so excited I went to run for chief. Well then, we got down for chief. I was no senteis kidding me so. That was his reply. My grandson, go know yourself first. You're too young. You haven't even raised your family. How do you know anything about hard life? You're just a young punk. You don't even know anything. The only reason why you want to be chief is you want to be faster to the check machine at the band office. All the rest of the old guys are too slow to get to the administrator. Isn't that what's happening in Indian country? You want to try and pick young 20-year-olds to be your leaders? They haven't even dipped into life yet. Tell them to go to school. I had young people, Bruce McCollum, were you a chief? I want to be a chief too. Go to school. That's what you're going to hear me say over and over to you. Go to school. If you don't have anything to back yourself up with, don't bother. You got to have some credentials to back up what you're going to be talking about. I have young people that all run for band council. Well, what are you going to do? Exactly. We don't even have a clue. Most of us, we don't even have a plan. So that's what we got to do when we talk about education, why it's so important to go get educated. Don't just run because you have some money in your pocket and you think you can hand it all over the place and think you can pay your way there. Because now you're going to have 100 people in your door all the time, pounding on the door, keep asking for money. And they'll keep asking and asking to keep you in office while your band is going broke. Right? Lots of us are operating that way. We're taking money from the band to give to our people to go broke. To try and make people happy. Well, are we happy? Not when I look at the newspapers, when I look at happy. There's people dying left and right from drugs, violent gang shootings going on the reserve. Even the reserve is not even sacred anymore. We've lost how important the reserve is. Back home now there, all of a sudden, we got to have an electric gate coming into the reserve. Well, yeah. That's what happens when you let people from Pakistan come and shack up in your reserve and start selling meth. You got to do something about it, right? Or you're just going to stand around and keep burying your people. Because that's what we're doing. I'm singing every other week at River Park, burying our people. Because we keep allowing people, and what did they say to Métis people when they used to move into towns? You're squatting. You gotta get out of here. So I'm gonna create a PCR that says you back, you can't squat here. Right? That's what we gotta do now, is create PCRs to squat people out of our reserve. To keep our reserves safe from our children. It's the safety of our children we have to think about now. These European people, the young, vulnerable young women. While these young women that are on those drugs, shacking up with these guys, and these guys are setting up shop in your reserve. Now, when we talk treaty, your reserve is part of your treaty. It's time for Chief and Council to wake up and assert their treaty rights. One of them is reserve. That means taking over your authority again. You know what, back in the day, I bet you if I asked these elders, Treaty Day in Montreal Lake 50 years ago, did you see people drunk? Was there people walking around drunk? No. They really respected the treaty because the treaty says you're not supposed to walk around intoxicated on the reserve. You're not supposed to walk around drunk on the reserve. So when you're walking around drunk on the reserve, you're breaking your own treaty right. You're breaking your own law, so if you don't respect your law, you're not going to have respect for your chief and council. You're not going to have respect for your treaty. If you want to walk around drunk on your reserve and walk around like it's your right. It's not your right. We have to get back to respecting the reserve. The authority of what the reserve was all about in the first place. So towards my closing, I usually teach our children about our own Cree Nation. Where we come from, who we are, what we're all about. Because it's so important, because one time I was in the university and I was standing beside 8 other people from across Canada. This guy was talking about coming from a clan from BC, and his clan was 300 years, and he knew his 300-year-old great-grandfather carried on. When it got to my part, and who are you? I'm Daryl McCall, and I'm Catholic. That's all I could say. It was my religion. I had absolutely no background knowledge. And it was embarrassing as hell. Right? To finally realize in university you don't even know who you are. So we teach that now. And now today I can proudly say that my great-great-grandfather, Joseph McCollum, was actually at the Adhesion. This is the document of the Adhesion. These are some of the names. Cornelius White Bear became a chief. Custer, Biggity. Biggities are all in Baliwag. So all these last names, we were one large clan at one time. But we were so far apart that the treaty needed to be signed specifically to certain groups. And there was already those leaders. We already had Peter Valentine. We already had Black Laurent's chief. We already had William Charles. There was already leaders there. That's why they were recognized when treaty came. And our treaties, even during the 1700s, is when they first started having the first little bits of documents of what the Cree people were doing. For us, the Pelican Arrows, very, very historical. Wapau Ushtigan. Wapau is the Cree word for narrows. Usta. Be afraid. The narrows of fear. Because if you pass through Pelican Arrows back 300 years ago, you would probably get killed by the Cree people at the narrows. They wouldn't let you go trade further than that. So we were killing Dene people, we were killing Dakota people, so that they couldn't go trade. Our oral tradition says that. Dene people call Cree people Hema, Hema. You know what that means? The enemy. I thought I was getting a special name from the Dene. Here they're calling me the enemy. So that's what they call us when it's based on our history. We became their enemies. And us, we call them chipwani, what? Because their caribou hats were very pointy. Very pointy hats. Chipwani is so chipwa hat. That's how that word came up. It's not the rocket word, it's actually saying the name of your hat. So our Cree settlements date back to 1730 in our area. So these are all important facts that we teach our children in our schools. That they know they've been here historically written over 300 years ago. Beyond treaty. We were already there. And then we get in depth. We talked about in 1894, Peter Valentine, later to be the first chief of the Cree Nation, was admitted to treaty along with 41 other members of the extended family at Potato Lake by L'Orange. Peter Valentine had trapping grounds of 11,000 square miles ceded to the crown. Peter Valentine's trapline was actually at the Wapawika Hills. Wapawika Hills in the L'Orange area. In time, other future members of the Cree Nation centered at Pelican Arrows entered Treaty 6, paddling to L'Orange to state their case with the Indian agent of the day. In 1898, Indian agent Hilton Keith traveled to Pelican Arrows and admitted over 100 more individuals living there to the Lac Orange. As Pelican Arrows continued pressing their claim to be recognized as a separate band, the Department of Indian Affairs finally relented and recognized the Cree Nation as a separate entity, apart from Lac Orange Indian Band in August 1900. Peter Valentine was appointed as the first chief and served for 17 years. So that's when we officially broke away, because we were so far away from each other. And this is what makes up Peter Valentine. Pelican Arrows, Shamrock Lake, Sandy Bay, South End, Denair Beach, Sturgeon Landing, Kinsale, and Prince Albert. They represent each of the feathers on our logo. And in closing, we try to teach our children these 4 things. Respect, honor, protect, and uphold your treaty. Your treaty is very important. They ask me, how did you come to know about all this stuff there? It's because of the beautiful treaty right to education. One of the things that our grandfathers did at the signing of treaty was they wanted to know the reading and the writing and the cunning of the white man. The only way we could do that is to agree to educate our children. Mind you, when they created the Indian Act, they created the Indian Act to take the authority on how they were going to teach education. That's where it went wrong. But other than that, the treaty right to education, for our people to believe in that and to hang on to that, and today it is a right. That's why we have these schools. That's why we have post-secondary education. That's why we're able to be resilient and still survive in this country. And in Treaty 6, there's one thing in Treaty 6 that's written on there that says, and on the 4th day of the treaty, right? So that says our people were sitting there for 4 days, not 4 hours. It wasn't an afternoon meeting. It was 4 days before they even decided anything. They sat for 4 days. So there must have been so much talk going on. All hours of the night, people want to talk about their future, because the big talk back then was, we have to put our bows and arrows away and pick up the spades and become farmers. It must have been a very, very difficult decision for them. But even today, when they promised you the spade, they didn't give you the spade. That's why they're paying us today now. They forgot to come and give you your spade, your cows and plows to become a farmer. So that's why they're paying back for that wrong. So every time the government win and fail, they pay back. Mind you, I don't like the way that it's done. I don't think giving our people a bunch of money is the answer. I think putting our money away somewhere and people deciding what to do with it would have been the best thing. Because right now, I look at the obituaries every week. Each and every band that's gotten cows and plows, their young people are on the obituaries. It's no It's not to think about. It's happening. And that's going to be happening in our band. Peter Valentine's right around the corner. Some young people are already talking about, oh, I'm going to buy so much. Holy man. And those kind of people are the ones we're burying. The ones that have absolutely no plan. And now is the right time to talk about it. Start talking about a plan. What do you really want to do? What do you really want to do? Like me, I have a family of 5 kids at $35,000 apiece. Plus me and my wife, we're almost at $300,000. You mean to tell me we can't sit around the table and come up with a brilliant idea on how to invest our money and make money for our family for the rest of our lives? That's the kind of talk we have to start having. Because the last time, how many times have you seen money in your reserve? Residential school. We got a big $100,000 from. I have my brother who still doesn't talk to me because he borrowed $2,000 from residential school. He hasn't paid me back. Now I don't talk to him. It's about 5 years ago. Some people are talking like that on the reserve because there's grudges that were created because of that. We borrow from, even when I told my brother I'm going to get a big bunch of money, he comes up to me, really? How much are you going to give me? For what? It's not your money. I'm just telling you you're going to have money. Don't get fooled by your brothers and sisters. I know we love each other. But when we start owing each other, we don't love each other anymore. We start holding grudges. So be careful. In the end, in closing, I'd like to thank every one of you. I don't ever try and piss anybody off what I'm saying, but you know what? We got to be real now. We can't hide anymore. We got to be talking the real thing, because if we try and hide it, our children will go find it on iPads or YouTube or somewhere else anyway. They'll figure it out before we do, so it's better we tell them ourselves. Sit around the kitchen table sometimes and shut off your TVs and your iPads and your phones. Sometimes we're at the kitchen table, all 4 phones are going, Tishka, I'll text you, pass me the salt. Hey, across the table, come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's not lose ourselves. We've got to have some balance with technology too. And some authority as parents. Don't let that little baby take over. Just because he's crying over that iPad and you have your own needs to look after, well, sometimes there's a reason why a kid is crying, right? It's not always because they need an iPad. They might be hungry. Might be something else. But do we take time to talk? Here. Sometimes we don't even say hi. Here's my phone. Start giving the kid the phone right away, because it's an easy way for us to do something else. Okay, so with that, my name is Darryl Pitts-McCall. I hope you enjoyed my presentation today.
Okay, let's give Darryl a big hand here. And, okay, just because of time constraints, getting fairly late in the afternoon here, we had a fairly big itinerary to follow, and we want to try and cut back a little on this. So next we're going to go with the dance demonstrations at this point. Then closing remarks after that, and we'll bid everyone goodbye and good learning here today. So with that, we're going to go with the demonstration of dance.
Are you ready? Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. After these commercials on YouTube. 3, 2, 1.
lady way over there.
All right, if I could have the teacher, she's going to introduce her students. Stop. I'm chasing her around. There we go. Maybe introduce your students here.
Good afternoon. These are most of our grade 2 students, and I'm just trying to, keep them happy and positive on our what happened with their teacher. And this little group, most of them they danced last year. We had they've been practicing 2 new dances. They were practicing the they did heel toe polka last year, and they were practicing the 7-step and the butterfly. And their intentions, they were supposed to get the crowd dancing. Okay, guys, I need you to sit still, please. I'm going to introduce you. I'll start with our 2 grade 1 students. We have Oliver. Oliver, wave to the crowd, the visitors. Say hello. Yeah, that's Oliver. And then we have Nova Roberts. Nova Roberts, can you wave? Okay, and then these next 6 students are our grade 2 students. I've been working with them since last year, so okay, yeah.
All right, grade 2 students, I need you to say your name.
Maya, Keisha, Oliver, Nova Roberts, Candice, Ronald, Holden, Sophia.
All right, one last song. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Thanks very much, grade 2s. Thanks for coming here and announcing your name and demonstrating your songs. As our Grand Chief is walking out, I'd just like to ask him to maybe say a few words as we close off here.
Okay, thank you very much, Nolan. Thank you for being MC. Thank you to the drum group again. Thank you everyone, their councillors, Vice Chief, Edgar, and the band manager here, Don. Thank you everyone, the elders, Simon, with all the work that you do. To Darren over there with the historian, the research work that he does. Keep them in a kill. Thank you very much for what you do.
Okay, thanks very much, Grand Chief. Dean, would you be prepared to make some closing comments as well?
Thank you. Just want to thank everybody for attending this afternoon. This morning we had some very good speeches. Boots, I really liked your presentation. I think maybe we invite you back at some point and we get all our students in the gym to hear that presentation because it's an excellent presentation. And I'd like to invite you back. So thank you, Boots. Give them a round of applause, you guys. You did a great job. And to the organizers, Blanche. Blanche, she does our decorating for all our events. Always an awesome job. To the administration crew that did all the organizing. Simon, Agnes, and the crew, thank you very much for all that. And then of course to all our dignitaries that are here. Oh, Chief's donating $100 to the grade 2 class for their jigging demonstration. Grade 9 are going to come in and do a jigging demonstration. So, 9 and 10, they're going to jig. So, where's your tune? With that, thank you very much. Once again, thank you. And enjoy the rest of the day. But here's your jigging song coming up.
These are the students that have been working very closely with Ashley and Michelle from the Prairie Land Dancers, I think they're called. So they're doing awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks for coming and demonstrating. At least at this point, I'd like to, there's a couple more closing comments here, and then we'll dance the flags out. And as well, I'd like to ask everyone to follow the flags out of here as we're closing down the ceremony. So, so with that, anyway, I'd like to ask Dr. Kathy Walker to make a few comments, closing comments.
Thanks, Nolan. I just want to say, Keenan asked me now for inviting me to be here and for being such wonderful, wonderful hosts. The meal was delicious. The youth here are so respectful and helpful. I never had to worry about going and getting my own coffee or tea or dessert. They're very, very respectful, really impressed. And just happy to celebrate the signing of your treaty with all of you. And I just want to also say, huge congratulations, and and I just feel so strengthened in the treaty relationship and the vision, knowing that your community is doing so much to uphold treaty and to live treaty and to teach the young people. So again, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, Don?
Thank you, Nolan. I just want to say, I want to thank everybody, the drum group, the opening prayer, the people, the teachers, Simon and administration at the school here that put on a tremendous day for celebrating the signing of the Adhesion Treaty 6 in 1889. So I just want to say thank you very much to the cooks, to everybody that was involved in this excellent day of celebration.
Okay, thank you very much for all the speakers and everyone that is involved here. Your involvement is greatly appreciated, and it's all to the young ones. And so as we close off the evening here, we have a closing prayer, and then we're going to drum out. So let's see. Okay, we have. I think we have a closing prayer here coming on. So.
Nanaskun mamoyo kawinan. Tiningin ay isita ya umahiska. Tiningin pagniya kamuti ya. Kapilo itawas nisna mina. Takiskisin. Tangues itawas niyawan. Thank you, Lord, for letting us meet here today. We love what they have done, and stay with them all the time. They need you. We all need you. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thanks very much. And so I'd just like to have everyone continue standing. We're going to be taking out the flags, and I'd like to ask everyone to kind of fall in behind the flags as we close off this afternoon here. And thank you for your participation and your audience, and thanks so much for coming here. It's it, and the drum group, we quit down in Pahami, or we go, we stay in our Nationhood, we'll stay up here.